G Money, he was childhood friends with NBA YoungBoy, not as famous, never really popped off like him, but I mean, I'm not from Baton Rouge, but maybe he's a little bit more poppin' there. But recently, actually last night, I believe, he was shot and killed outside of his studio. He came out after a night of recording and was shot in the head. And the details are still a little hazy on it as of yet, and we don't know if NBA was involved, and there's no evidence there's a connection between these two. But it's interesting to talk about because there's this beef going on between them, and it seems like a bit too much of a coincidence that there's this kind of rising beef between NBA YoungBoy and G Money, and then all of a sudden G Money's found dead with foul play certainly suspected. But it's worth talking about. And again, the details are a little light on it now, but we know that they were that NBA is kind of. If you've been following the Famous Dex situation, when Famous Dex went on to LA, a lot of Chicago rappers were saying that he changed up and he cut everybody off. And it's kind of a similar situation with NBA, that a lot of the guys he came up with and his childhood friends were accusing him of changing completely once he got famous. And once he started getting some money, he was cutting people off. And usually the mentality is that once you get money, you start putting everybody on that you grew up with because they were always there for you when you were broke. So it stands to reason that they should be there with you when you're standing on the stage, throwing hundreds out into the crowd. But that wasn't the case with G Money, and he was upset with NBA for that. And apparently, G Money fucked NBA's sister when they were younger, so there was some tension over that. And you might be thinking to yourself, like, okay, this is, I mean, yeah, that's kind of shitty stuff, and that would cause, I think, anybody to argue, but to shoot somebody in the head over that, and again, we don't know if there's any connection. It's a worthwhile story to talk about, and it kind of brings up an interesting point about rap beef and the fact that I think kind of the general tone of rap beef since the 90s, it used to always be violent. Like, it always used to involve a shooting. Obviously, the most famous case being Pac and Biggie, but there are plenty of others. And there usually used to be some kind of physical violence involved, and then that's kind of gone away over the last few years. I'd say over the last decade. Now it's rappers beef on Twitter or subtweets, or they release like a subliminal diss song. Like a lot of times we don't even have outright diss songs. I remember it was kind of shocking when Drake dropped back to back because it's like so many times it's not so straightforward, and that you kind of have to the pick through the lyrics. And then here, these guys didn't even take it to wax. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's how they do it down in Baton Rouge, but we value street rappers and how real they are, and then they go ahead and do something like this, and it's I guess it's not too shocking, and it's not too shocking they wouldn't take it to wax. And again, allegedly, the key word here is allegedly. We don't know what really happened, but it's worth discussing, and it's worth thinking about. I mean, I'm sure the fans weren't backing down from this beef on either side, because it's kind of interesting to see your two favorite rappers talking shit to each other, and then it kind of escalates and escalates, and we get something like what happened with Bankroll Fresh, and that was truly tragic in Atlanta, and we get something else like this. So, is there any solution to it? Probably not. It's like that's how humans are. You argue, you get violent, but I don't know. I guess you can't be rapping about it in your lyrics if you aren't really about it. So, something to think about.